The evil wind. It was in the 3rd millennium before Christ that the great Sumerian civilization came to an abrupt end. Its sudden demise was bewailed in numerous lamentation texts that have been discovered by archaeologists. The texts ascribed the calamity to an evil wind that came blowing from the west, a deathly cloud that caused excruciating death to all living beings, people, and animals alike, that withered plants and poisoned the waters. Everything was dying. In the years surrounding the 1800, I feel very strongly that we slipped into what is called the Great Age. Because of our universal time clock, the zodiac, it took us from out of the fish age and right into the long-awaited Great Age that was spoken to us in a prophecy, so many years ago, by Thoth, the Egyptian god of knowledge. That Great Age is called the Age of Aquarius, who has a symbol of a man with water flowing from his shoulder. That man was the Sumerian god of wisdom, Enki. And the waters flowing from his shoulders is the heavenly knowledge of our Creator and Father. He was the dweller in Amenti that taught his grandson Thoth. For thousands of years, mud tablets, with writings on them from ancient temple homes, was found in Iraq. These temples were the temple homes of the Atlantean gods that ruled the whole earth at one time and started great civilizations worldwide, and they are the reason we are here today. Before them, man lived in caves and drank from streams. Because of those writings, we learned that Iraq is the seat of civilizations, and many things happened there and was written down on those many mud tablets and cylinders. Notice what Professor Samuel Kramer says: at the end of the 3rd millennium before Christ, the great Sumerian civilization came to an abrupt end. Its sudden demise was bewailed in numerous lamentation texts that have been discovered by archaeologists. The texts ascribed the calamity to an evil wind that came blowing from the west, a deathly cloud that caused excruciating death to all living beings, people, and animals alike, that withered plants and poisoned the waters. On the land of Sumer fell a calamity, one unknown to man, one that had never been seen before, one which could not be withstood. A great storm from heaven, a land-annihilating storm, an evil wind, like a rushing torrent. A battling storm joined by a scorching heat by day, it deprived the land of the bright sun, in the evening the stars did not shine. The people, terrified, could hardly breathe, the evil wind clutched them, does not grant them another day. Mouths were drenched with blood, heads wallowed in blood, the face was made pale by the evil wind. It caused cities to be desolate, houses to become desolate, stalls to become desolate, the sheepfolds to be emptied. Sumer rivers it made flow with water that is bitter, its cultivated fields grow weeds, its pastures grow withering plants. Thank you, Professor Samuel Kramer, that helped us greatly. What does that sounds like to you? But putting those accounts aside for a while, we want to bring up other writings. Let's look at the Bible that many think are old writings. Is this account in the Bible? There were 70 Jewish scribes, under the command of Ptolemy II, that were ordered to go to Alexandria, Egypt, and write the history of the Hebrew people so it could be put in the great Alexandrian library, so it could house an account of their history. So those scribes put together the Torah in Greek, so it could be put there and would last for many years. It was called the Greek Septuagint. I think it's owned by the Catholic Church these days, but it should be returned back to Egypt. This is the account the Catholics used for the start of their Bible. But getting back to those many mud tablets, there are accounts that described a terrible event called the evil wind. The evil wind account sounds like some type of event that sounds more like a nuclear bomb explosion than anything. Let us take a study to see what we can understand. Let's read a few tablets found in the Great University of Oxford. Here is its introduction. Introduction. Sumerian is the first language for which we have written evidence and its literature the earliest known. The electronic text corpus of Sumerian literature, XLO, a project of the University of Oxford, comprises a selection of nearly 400 literary compositions recorded on sources which come from ancient Mesopotamia, modern Iraq, and date to the late 3rd and early 2nd millennia BCE. The corpus contains Sumerian texts in transliteration, English prose translations and bibliographical information for each composition. The transliterations and the translations can be searched, browsed, and read online using the tools of the website. Here is how some tablets read: The evil wind. The Lord cried alas, so that heaven trembled, and earth huddled at his feet and was terrified at his strength. Enlil became confused and went out of the Ekur. The mountains were devastated. That day the earth became dark, the Anunna trembled. The hero beat his thighs with his fists. The gods dispersed, the Anunna disappeared over the horizon like sheep. The Lord arose, touching the sky, Ninurta went to battle, with one step he covered a league, he was an alarming storm, and rode on the 8 winds towards the rebel lands. His arms grasped the lance. The mace snarled at the mountains, the club began to devour all the enemy. He fitted the evil wind and the sirocco on a pole, he placed the quiver on its hook. An enormous hurricane, irresistible, went before the hero, stirred up the dust, caused the dust to settle, leveled high and low, filled the holes. It caused a rain of coals and flaming fires, the fire consumed men. It overturned tall trees by their trunks, reducing the forests to heaps. Earth put her hands on her heart and cried harrowingly. The Tigris was mudded, disturbed, cloudy, stirred up. He hurried to battle on the boat Makernuntia. The people there did not know where to turn, they bumped into the walls. The birds there tried to lift their heads to fly away, but their wings trailed on the ground. The storm flooded out the fish there in the subterranean waters, their mouths snapped at the air. It reduced the animals of the open country to firewood, roasting them like locusts. It was a deluge rising and disastrously ruining the mountains. Enlil brought Jabil as his aid. He called the great storm of heaven, the people groan. The great storm howls above, the people groan. The storm that annihilates the land roars below, the people groan. The evil wind, like a rushing torrent, cannot be restrained. The weapons in the city smash heads and consume indiscriminately. the storm whirled gloom around the base of the horizon, the people groan. In front of the storm, heat blazes, the people groan. A fiery glow burns with the raging storm. The evil wind approached Urim. The trees of Urim were sick, its reeds were sick. Laments sounded all along its city wall. Daily there was slaughter before it. Large axes were sharpened in front of Urim. The spears, the arms of battle, were prepared. The large bows, throw sticks and shields gathered together to strike. The barbed arrows covered its outer side like a raining cloud. Large stones fell together with great thuds. Daily the evil wind returned in the city. Urim, confident in its own strength, stood ready for the murderers. Its people, oppressed by the enemy, could not withstand their weapons. O bitter storm, retreat, O storm, storm return to your home. O storm that destroys cities, retreat, O storm, storm return to your home. O storm that destroys houses, retreat, O storm, storm return to your home. Indeed the storm that blew on Sumer, blew also on the foreign lands. Indeed the storm that blew on the land, blew on the foreign lands. It has blown on Tidnum, it has blown on the foreign lands. It has blown on Gutium, it has blown on the foreign lands. It has blown on Anaan, it has blown on the foreign lands. It levelled Anaan like a blowing evil wind. Famine has overwhelmed the evildoer, those people will have to submit. Its Lord, who has despoiled it like an evil wind, has destroyed that city and its temples. He has ripped out their foundations, struck them with the adze, killed wives and their children within it. He has turned that city into a deserted city. When would he restore its ancient property? Its possessions have been carried off by the wind. Enlil turned the city which used to be there into a city no longer. Your roaring and commands make all the foreign countries submit. Your frightening look makes all enemies tremble. Udaulu, when like all the evil winds you rise to like Jabil, the lord of, the hero, after you have completely devastated the rebellious lands, all the great gods will duly praise your supremacy. Your father decided your destiny.